Hi, and welcome to an episode of the Modern Maker Workroom that we're going to call Modern Maker Inspirations. Now, one of the things that I've talked about a lot, but I haven't really done too many videos of, is taking a period piece and turning it into something very modern. We're going to make a shirt, but the original garment that this is taken from is from the 3rd century Common Era. So we're looking at, something from the 200s, maybe? It could be anywhere from the 1st century to the 4th century. What it boils down to is this is a very kind of Roman/Coptic era tunic. It's probably an overgarment meant to be worn over something, like an undershirt or something. I suspect this is an outer garment. So what I decided to do is I wanted to make a modern garment using this construction and this shape. And of course I wanted to do it all by hand. And because I really believe in doing things that are wise for our planet, I decided to try a construction that was zero waste. Now, for this type of garment, a zero waste construction is relatively simple. And I will admit, not 100% zero waste, because there are some very small little scraps that I ended up cutting out of the neckline. But I think all total, it's about 10 square inches of material. So in terms of waste, it is literally almost nothing. The whole shirt definitely takes on kind of a rustic country look that a lot of 1970s clothes had. And I love that about it. And it feels very, very comfortable to have on. I'm telling you, when it comes to wearing comfort clothing around the house, I'm never going to wear another t-shirt. I'm always going to put one of these on. They're so comfortable. And particularly for women's wear, I think if you were to make one of these in like a really nice cotton or a beautiful linen and just wear it with some leggings and some great accessories, you could have something that looks incredibly fashion and incredibly now while still using this 3rd century construction. And that's something that I think is really amazing about this type of work. It's such a simple shape. It definitely is in line with a lot of the things that are in more casual fashion right now, very boxy cuts, very open silhouettes. I think that it has a lot of relevance to the here and now. And you can add details to it that can make it really interesting too. You can sew it by machine with contrast stitching. You can add like a regular shirt cuff to it. You can even bring the neckline and collar up and create like a regular shirt collar to go along with it. From my perspective, I like to keep the historical concept because it really makes it fun to tell people about the fashion. Like, this is the size and shape of a 3rd century shirt. So I hope you enjoy watching this video and the construction process. Please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want to see the rest of my videos, scroll on down to the end of the video and there'll be some links to some of my playlists. So thanks so much, and let's get stitching. The full width of the garment is determined from wrist to wrist just by your total height. And then the length of the garment from high point of shoulder to hem has everything to do with the width of the fabric. And then the depth of the cut from the wrist to the side of the chest is basically to your elbow. So if you're using a length tape from the Bara system, from wrist to the tip of that cut is probably about 3/8. And you'll see here in just a second as we begin the cut in the actual video. I have the fabric folded, and I have it folded twice here. So there's the fold towards me, and then it's a fold down its length, and then there's also a crosswise fold at one end. So I begin by making the 1/4 for the depth of the cut, and then the length of the cut is 3/8. So I'm chalking that line in place here, and then chalking the body width going down. Now, to find the width of the wrist, I'll just use 1/8 of my chest tape, and I'll mark it here. And then I will grab my ruler and I will draw a line from wrist to armpit. Now you can see the excess fabric there. Now that's going to be folded up onto the sleeve as a decorative applique after the seam is sewn. Now I'm going to make my cut. I have turned the piece so that it's facing me, and I have my shears in my hand. And I'm just going to make this nice little cut. And I've got both sides stacked on top of each other. So I'm just going to make this one cut, and then here you can see the shape of the tunic has already appeared. And voila. Once I have had a look at that, now I need to work with my neckline. My original lines I didn't like, so I'm going to redraw them.
I've used my iron to erase the lines, and I have my chest tape, which is what I use to make the neckline. So I'm going to put 1/8 on one side and make a mark, and then I will draw a curve down to the center line. And then I will draw 1/8 on the far side and draw the back neckline curve. Now I'm going to make one small snip into the center back neck here. I just want to make sure my line's extra well drawn, and then I am going to simply slice the fold along the top of the neck. And I'll do this on both sides, once, twice, and then what I'll do is I will proceed to make clips into the neck, as though I'm clipping the curve, and I'm clipping very deep, almost all the way down to the line. And this allows me to create the curve of the neckline without losing any fabric. And I'm just making 2 cuts into each side plus the center, so there's 1, and here's 2, and then I'll repeat that on the other side. With the neckline done, I just want to take a peek at it, so I'm folding all of these little ends out so that I can see the curvature. Now I've exposed the back, and I'll go ahead and make my 2 cuts into the back neckline, 1 on each side. And once that's done, then I know that I have the shape of my neckline complete, and I can move forward. I highly recommend to myself that the next time I do this project, I will just make the lines and draw the cuts on the outside of the fabric. Turning it right side out was a bit of a pain. So now that I'm right side out, I'm redrawing these lines for the sleeve and the side seam. And what I'll do now is baste along those lines, and I'm keeping 1 hand width up from the hem and then just basting the rest of the side seam. And I'm working from the armpit to the wrist now, and I'll baste the sleeve. And I'm basting directly on this line. Once the basting is done, then I'll begin to do my stitching. Now the stitching will be done with a back stitch, and I'm going to use a green heavy silk thread. Now you can use whatever thread is convenient to you. It doesn't really matter. This is modern fashion, so there's no need to adhere to historical thread standards. But as you see, I'm using this back stitch approximately 3/8 of an inch away from where I put my basting line. And this is so that I have an actual allowance to work with. The garment is already so oversized that I'm not particularly concerned about losing width and not being able to fit the garment. But particularly as I go around the armpit, I will have enough of an allowance there that I can clip and turn those seam allowances and make the armpit nice and secure, because it is going to be a pressure point as the garment is worn. Now I'll backstitch the entire seam, and once that's complete, then the basting gets removed. And the basting comes out pretty quickly, and then you repeat this on the other side of the garment. Once both seams are sewn, then it's time to do a bit of a press. So we're pressing these seam allowances. Now remember, we did all of our stitching on the outside of the garment, so these seam allowances are actually on the outside of the garment as well. And here at the sleeve, we are going to double fold this. So we're turning the edge up till it's right along the stitching, and we're giving it a press. So we're going to do the opposite side, and then I'll press it open like a normal seam allowance. And that gives us this fully finished, nice, thick hem on the underside of the sleeve that helps everything hang properly. Now for the front, I am double folding here at the top. And then a bit later on, I'm going to actually hem the center section of this between those the two striped lines, the white and red striped lines, and that'll be the width of my pocket. But you can see here that I'm making a nice angle, and this will make it easy to get my hands into the pockets when the time comes to actually use them. Press that in place, and then I'll press the center front edge, which is the raw edge of the flange that's closest to me. This edge gets turned up, because this does, and this only has to be turned once, because it doesn't end up being an exposed edge like the top of the pocket will. This will just get sewn down. So everything's been given a nice press, and now it's time to baste in place. So I'm carefully folding just this one layer onto the garment, and I'm putting my hand inside the whole garment when it comes time to do this basting. And what that does is it prevents me from stitching any of the other layers together. I only want these two outer layers to be secured. So I'm going to put my hand all the way up in here, and I have to very carefully crunch it up because it's an awful lot of fabric to get to, and then I'll do my basting. Now for the back, we just go down the angle of the flange and then straight down from the corner to the hem. And for the front, we will baste from this same point at the armpit, and then we will turn where we draw our pocket. And I'll show you how to draw the pocket here in a minute. But this is a back panel. We're going to go straight across the top and then straight down the edge to the hem. And we are at the bottom, and I'll just give a little extra security with my needle and thread by taking one extra stitch with my basting thread, and then we'll cut and move on. This is one of the fronts, and so you can see I'm cooling it off a little bit after ironing, but I'm just going to use my hand as the basic shape here. I want it to be a little deeper in front than at the side, and anything that I put in that pocket will then kind of collect toward the front. It won't go into the armpit. It'll aim toward the front of the garment, which will help it hang better. So I'll clean up those lines, and here's a little image showing the hem as I've stitched it, and this was just done with a This is the outside of it, showing the shape of the pocket. And this is a strange camera angle, but now I'm basting around the pocket, and I'm doing this basting just a little bit away from where the actual chalk line was, because that's where I'm going to be stitching, is on that chalk line. So if you can see under my thumb here, you can see the chalk line, and you can see that I'm basting to the outside of it right there. I'm having a little trouble because I pulled my basting stitches too tight and it's ruffling up the fabric a little bit. So I'll just turn and then I'll work my way down the front just as we did on the back. Now let's talk a bit about the permanent stitching. I'm using a pick stitch. For the back, you'll simply follow the edge all the way down and then work your way down from the corner down to the hem. This is a front that you're seeing right here, and right at the edge of the line where the pocket has been drawn, I'm going to do a bar tack. So I'm taking 3 stitches in one place, 3 long stitches in one place, and then I'm covering them with little satin stitches before turning and moving my way down the pocket with back stitches, following the chalk line that I made. Here's the whole pocket. I'm going to test it by sticking my hand in. The basting can come out, just like so. And now we're ready to keep stitching. So do both fronts, and then follow by doing the back. Once the flanges of the back and front are complete and the pockets are sewn, then we'll move on to stitching the 4 little flanges of each sleeve. These go pretty quickly. When you reach the end, we're just going to tuck the cut edge down, and then we'll pick stitch all the way from the corner right to the raw edge. Once all 4 of those are complete, then we will move to the neckline. The piece of trim goes right at the folded edge. First we stitch the upper neckline edge, and then we'll stitch the inner edge. Once that's complete, then we move on to hemming the ends of the sleeves, and then it's done. We give it all a nice good press, and then stand in front of the camera and pose.